Professor Mellows. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I was able to give Lance my minutes because I made a better deal with Penelope that for the first time in years I'd be in a room where when you mentioned the word CARICOM, nobody had a bad thought in their mind. So that was my to talk about the ICT in the future of the Caribbean is a bit of a tall order. We have a remit for CARICOM, but I think we find ourselves in the Caribbean space, so it's some of the things will also apply. And I'm sure we don't want you to talk about higher economics tonight, but we tend to see ourselves and hear about ourselves in the light of our economy struggling and not doing well and not being able to perform on the world market, etc. We seem to have better news coming out of the CDB this year as recently as 2 weeks ago, which says that all our economies are set to perform better in 2019. But as you read behind the research, etc., a lot of that is focused, you lost that word, on the use of ICT and how we plan to transform ourselves. Dr. Justin Ram, who has become a favorite of mine for reading, of the CDB as well, says in that same report that transformation requires fiscal discipline, human development, environmental resilience, and an improved business environment. I think we've been hearing some of that this evening as we listen to the other esteemed panelists. I wanted to start us off though with a couple of questions because I think, obviously I don't have enough time, but I think we need to put our minds in a certain place. And it's simple questions, and the first one is, what type of society do we want? Because we're talking a lot about ICT and the digital transformation, etc. But part of what we're doing can't be just doing for doing sake. So we need to figure out what type of society do we want here in Guyana and in the wider CARICOM region and Caribbean. And then if we figure that out, how then do we eke out the tangible benefits of digital transformation for Guyana and for CARICOM? And perhaps another question is, how do we measure the digital transformation? I heard Lance say that it was very easy. I am going to jump on his bandwagon someday soon because it's not easy at my desk. There are a set of complexities and the environment is fragmented, and so we have a lot of layers and steps to go through. I'm not going to talk a lot, as I said, about CARICOM today, but I must say for the advertising purpose, that one of the solutions that the region has come up with is a CARICOM single ICT space. And we're hoping to work on that as a region to deal with a lot of this complexity and fragmentation. It also provides us hopefully with some economies of scale so that we don't project at the world level as a market of just 3/4 million people, but as a market of 16 million people. So I hope that people will come and ask me afterwards about the single space. I don't want to talk about it too much because I am one of the policymakers that the minister spoke about, and I do that all day. Some of the emerging trends that we're seeing in the Caribbean are, and I don't also want to talk a lot about the ICT trends because I think those are the happy places for us tonight. I perhaps will do a little bit of making us uncomfortable before we go home. The science of delivery, and I think governments have to be heavily invested in that. What are they delivering and who are they delivering it to, and why are they delivering it? And it is a big science going on behind that, what is called the science of delivery. Removing large infrastructure gaps, and I think all of us in the Caribbean can relate to that. We have infrastructure challenges in every sector. But the fourth industrial revolution, which I also don't like to talk about because I'm not sure it was an industrial revolution, but I don't have that time for research these days, has, from the research and the learnings, suggested to us that it has the power to reduce inequalities, but it's also giving us new interesting areas to deal with. Driverless cars, for example, when they come to the Caribbean, how are we going to deal with them? Embodied artificial intelligence, where you now have a body full of artificial intelligence, and you may have seen videos with robots jumping up steps, etc. How do we make data the center of everything? These are the emerging trends coming out in the world, and especially for decision making, which we don't do very well in the region. And how do we prioritize a culture of transformation and innovation? We're also heavily moving, if Japan gets its own way, we're moving to what is called Society 5.0, which is called the Imagination Society. That gives me a lot of tingles in my blood, but I suspect I may not be alive. This is the era where anybody can create value anytime, anywhere, just using the tools they have in their hands or wherever they choose to have those tools. Given the complexity of the ICT landscape and the dynamic nature of the sector, with regard to the region, somebody mentioned it before, I think, we have to start having conversations that are meaningful and intentional. We have to, thank you, thanks. We have to look at how we prioritize, and some of the emerging priorities include, and as I said, it's not going to make you feel warm and fuzzy perhaps, but we need to build understanding at the leadership level. Our leaders are now being called to adjudicate on something that they've never seen of or thought about. So how do we build that understanding? We have to assess the performance and impact of our ICT expenditure, particularly as developing countries. Are we spending on the right thing? We have to evaluate the efficiency and the efficacy of programs and our investments. We have to have concerted action and greater collaboration across all players. We say it in a very friendly manner in the region. We take it for granted, but if you look at other regions that have been successful, they have really formalized cooperation frameworks and that type of thing, and I think we need to move to that in the region. We have to remodel our business strategies and processes. We have to build new rules because it's a new game that we're playing. And what will be our digital rules in these games? One that we're not going to like is that we have to rework and we have to change our business behavior, both for our internal customers and our external customers. Our organizations are creaking because we tend to be outwardly focused, we treat everybody outside nicely, and the internal customers who will build your business, etc., are not being reformed and reworked, and that happens a lot in government, particularly, unfortunately. We have to make business work for the people. I have 2 more lines. In terms of what other people were saying on the panel, we have to upskill our workers and our people digitally. Len started to touch on it, but my own feeling is that we have to start infusing ICT almost as an ethos. Just like we use paper and pen, and I'm happy with my paper and pen because I'm from that era. But the persons who are coming up now, we have to infuse ICT as a way of life for them from day one in the education system. And our literacy has to be a digital literacy program for all. Our grandmothers also need to use the ATMs for their banks. Disabled people need to use telephones and other things that have to be suited for them. So the literacy and the education things are still fires that are bubbling, and I think we have to have a real regional conversation about them. And of course, we have to boost youth employment. My time is up, but I just wanted to say that if we, as a Caribbean region, determine and plan and actually do what I would call managed disruption and managed development, the future will be very bright for the carrying on with regard to ICT.